On the face of it, the days function seems like it is perfectly interchangeable with simply subtracting two dates from one another. You can see this here in cell E6. So you see here we have December 6th and December 5th next to each other. And there's nothing stopping us in Excel from typing an equal sign, selecting the effective date, typing in a minus sign, and selecting the transaction date, and generating the number of days between those two dates. No problem. And similarly, the days function, equal sign days, takes in the end date, comma, the transaction date or start date, close parentheses, and we see it generates the same value. So when it comes to two dates difference from one another, the days function performs exactly the same operation. But the difference comes in when you have times affiliated with those dates. So here, if I use equal sign this date minus this date and time, we can see here that the result is always going to be a decimal number. And that's because times are actually the decimal number representation of how far through the day something has been. So for example here, if we look at something like 6 a.m., that would be 25% of the way through the day. So when we subtract days and times together with one another, we see that it gives us the pure amount of hours, effectively, that are between those two dates. But on the other hand, the days function always generates a number of days. So here I use the days function. I click on the effective date, comma, the transaction date, close parentheses, and hit enter. And then I autofill that down. Now, at first, this may seem like it is rounding. So you see here, it's 0.86 as this one, and that rounds to 1, or 0.82, and that rounds to 1. But it is not, in fact, rounding. What it is doing is it's ignoring completely the times and just subtracting the 2 days from one another. So we see here this is December 5th to December 6th, so clearly 1 day. The 6th to the 7th, clearly 1 day. And you see that right down here we have a bunch of different values that seem like they round, except right in here, for example, 2.4 doesn't seem like it would round to 3, and that's because it's the 18th to the 21st, or 3.55 doesn't round to 3, that's because it is the 2nd to the 5th. And so all it's doing there is chopping off the times and saying if one transaction was on the 2nd and the other one was on the 5th, then that is 3 days in between.